It's your boy Amreezy, and welcome to this week on StocksFC for the week commencing 20th of May 2024. If it's your first time viewing, we talk all things StocksFC on this series. So get comfortable, make a cup of tea. If you've not got a cup of tea yet, you know the game, people. Pause the video, go make a cup of tea. While you've got the video paused, give the channel a like and a subscribe. Give the video a like, give the channel a subscribe. It helps me out, helps everyone out. It's great stuff. So you've got your cup of tea on pause. Let's go. All things StocksFC. That's what we talk about here. The Premier League season's just ended. So the weekend just gone. Premier League season finished. Very sad. Very sad for someone who has watched the Premier League all their life and loves the Premier League. You know, it's always the last day of the season is always exciting because it's like who's going to get relegated, who's going to win the league. European places are up for grabs. Chelsea secured 6th place, which I was delighted about. And then it's like now no Premier League football. It just stops. It's horrible. So with StocksFC still in its first early stages, it's just celebrated 1 year as a platform. They only have a few Premier League stocks available. So when the Premier League ends, that's basically it for StocksFC. Now, we do have some things in Europe in the summer. We have the Euros. We have the Copa Champions League final, but that's no longer relevant for StocksFC because Harry Kane, I think, was at the semi-final stage. Harry Kane was the only player in StocksFC who could be in the Champions League final. Bayern got knocked out, so there's nothing to play for in the Champions League final. However, the FA Cup final is this weekend coming. So this week's video is kind of an FA Cup final preview because that is the last kind of English game left to play. Then we've got the Euros in the summer and we've got Copa America. So any stocks that are playing in those competitions will earn points and will be in Team of the Weeks and Team of the Months. So that'll be a little bit interesting in the summer, but you know, it's not going to be as active because the Premier League season is over. So I think what's going to happen now on the platform is if you're new, I mean, if you're new, first of all, sign up with the link in my comments because you'll get 3 free stocks on loan. But also, if you're fairly new, like I'm fairly new, you know, I'm not that experienced. I mean, we're all fairly new because the site's only been a year old. But I think if you're kind of new and you've put a bit of money into this StocksFC that you think this is my budget and you've still got some of that left, the summer should be a great time to pick up some bargains. This is bargain hunting season. And I think if you're like me and you've got a few stocks now and you've kind of spent what you think is a good budget to start with, then I think your stock prices are going to come down in the summer. I think we can't panic. We've got to like ride out that sort of summer lull. The stock should pick up next season. And hopefully if StocksFC get the marketing right and there's a big push in the summer, next Premier League season, we hit the ground running and some of those stocks that we've had for a while now should go up in value as the platform grows. So yeah, if you've not got players, but you've got your eyes on a few stocks that you've been eyeing up for a while, summer should be a good chance for you to buy them. Let's start this video though by looking at last weekend, the final weekend of the Premier League season, wipes a tear away. Let's see who the top performing players were and who got into the team of the week for last weekend. Okay, here we go. This is the team of the week for the final weekend of the Premier League season. In at number 1, the number 1 highest scoring player from the team of the week was Mateta at Crystal Palace. He came in at number 5 last week in the team of the week top scorers. This week he's in at number 1. What a season. What an end of the season Palace are having. Crystal Palace just been on a crazy run. Chelsea and Crystal Palace didn't want the season to end because they were performing so well, but Mateta is number 1 again. His IPO was only like 2 weeks ago. His IPO came on the... So if you got Mateta, last week he was in Team of the Week. This week he's the number 1 highest scoring player of Team of the Week. So he's ended the season really strong. I said last week, the reason why I didn't get Mateta in the IPOs is still the same reason I'm not going to get him last week. Still the same reason I'm not going to get him now, even though his stock price has doubled since his IPO. So this is like a really good example of how StocksFC can get you quick profits at the moment on quickly, like 2 weeks. Mateta has gone from his IPO and his value's doubled. So if you played that short-term game, there are these short gains in StocksFC. You know, they're there to be had. So if you went there for Mateta, happy days, you're loving it. So he was number 1. Number 2 was Foden. So Mateta 109, Foden 105. Still a glorious score. 2 players in the 100s. I think all the top 5 this week, all of them got higher than number 1 last week. So Foden had a great game. He's got the FA Cup final now coming up the weekend, and he's got the Euros, and he's just been named Player of the Season. He won the Player of the Season award. So Foden's riding high. It's a great time, I think, to get Phil Foden stocks if you've not got them yet. I topped up my Phil Foden stocks last week. I topped them up, so I have what I think is a good amount for me, for my portfolio. But yeah, great score for Foden. Number 3, another Crystal Palace player, Eze. 98 points for Eze. I mean, or at least say Eze, Mateta. They're the 3 to have had for Crystal Palace for the last 3 or 4 weeks. So crazy score for Eze. Kulusevski, 87. These are all good scores. Kulusevski, 87. I did say last week Spurs were playing Sheffield United on the final day of the season, so it was kind of like, who'd you pick? Son was an option. Johnson was an option. Kulusevski was an option. It seems he was the one to go for. He got 87 points. And then in at number 5 for the second week in a row, Bruno Guimaraes at Newcastle. He was number 5 last week on Team of the Week. He's number 5 this week again, 84. I got Guimaraes in his IPO a few weeks ago, and he's just been a really good stock for me. He's been in Team of the Week a few times. He's given me in-play rewards. He's got Copa America coming up still in the summer, so I'm happy that I bought Guimaraes. So yeah, he comes in at number 5. They're your top 5 stocks for the week. Let's take a quick look at the top paying out per stocks. So these are the stocks. I mean, there he is again. Wood. Boy, I wish I had Chris Wood. But Diaz is there. Wood. Johnson from Spurs. An ever-present McAllister's always in this lineup. Gusto and Caicedo. A couple of Chelsea boys proving good value there. So not many Gustos. I think what put me off getting Gusto was that Reece James was an option at the time. And Caicedo's form was kind of shaky. But now Caicedo seems like he's having a great time. So Son's also there, and Eze. So Eze getting Team of the Week as a top payout per stock. If you got Eze, great time to be alive. So that's a quick look at the top payouts per stock. We've seen the Team of the Week. Let's now move on to have a quick look. It's not going to be an extensive look because my activity in buying new stocks has slowed down. But let's take a quick look at my portfolio and the IPOs coming on the platform this week. Right then, let's kick off this segment by looking at the IPOs coming on StocksFC this week. So first up is Doucouré at Everton, who I like as a player. I like central midfielders who are strong, box-to-box, dynamic kind of players. So he's a player I like watching at Everton, Doucouré. What puts me off him is I'm not quite sure how he scores well for StocksFC. He doesn't score regularly. He's not always getting a lot of assists. Everton don't score that many goals, so he's not going to be involved in lots of attacking plays. Maybe Everton strengthen in the summer and are a little bit more attacking next season, and Doucouré is a good option. But for me, he's one of those ones that I'll be avoiding. Also, what is putting me off some of the IPOs this week is that now that the Premier League season's ended, unless these players are going to play in the Euros or the Copa America, they're not going to be getting in-play rewards for a whole month. So what puts me off some of these is I can kind of see people buying them. And I can also see after a few weeks, people getting frustrated that they bought these stocks and they're not even playing. So they might sell them. And all 3 of these, I can see the prices coming down after the IPO. So that's kind of why I'm not going to be buying any 3 of these. But I'll just talk through my thoughts around them. So Doucouré, I just don't think he's attacking or involved in play enough to be considered as a stock. Verbruggen at Brighton, great stock, I think this one. Young goalkeeper, should be in the Premier League for a lot of years. There has traditionally been a bit of a problem at Brighton with rotating goalkeepers. De Zerbi likes to kind of switch Steele, Verbruggen, but towards the end of the season, it did seem like Steele was being phased out. And now with De Zerbi leaving and the next manager coming in, surely this boy's number 1 next season for Brighton, and the next manager doesn't rotate as much as De Zerbi liked to. So I think he's a fairly safe goalkeeper, and there's not that many StockFC goalkeeping options. So he's one that I think is exciting. What puts me off, though, is that we don't know who the Brighton manager is going to be for next season. Could be a really attacking, adventurous manager, which means Brighton don't keep any clean sheets. And if Brighton are never going to keep clean sheets, am I going to want their goalkeeper, even though he's young and promising and a good goalkeeper? I'm just holding off for that reason. So he's a little bit pricey, I think. He's the most expensive stock in the IPOs this week. A little bit too pricey for me, I think. And like I said, it could be that we see a lot of people buy him a couple of weeks in the season break where people get frustrated. I'm hoping there's some frustrated owners. So what I'll be doing is putting in an order probably in a few weeks for most of these stocks way below the IPO price in case there's any frustrated owners that bought them kind of by mistake. And then Daniel Munoz at Crystal Palace, really exciting player. I really like him. Really attacking wing back. Almost been playing as a fullback for Crystal Palace. So yeah, I think he's a great pick. We don't know exactly if Palace are going to continue this form into next season. I think a lot depends at Crystal Palace on who they sell. If they sell Eze and Elise, they're kind of got to rebuild. It will take a lot out of the team. So we're going to see how it's going to go. It's a huge summer for Crystal Palace. If they strengthen well and say only lose one of Elise and Eze and get a good replacement, and then maybe someone else, a sort of solid centre back or someone like that, someone in the middle, it could be a really good season for Palace next season. So Munoz is one that I'd be the most tempted from these 3 IPOs. If this was say 2 months ago, I think I'd be getting some Daniel Munoz stocks. However, with the season break, it's kind of I think these 3 stocks would have to be really long-term holds for me to make me tempted. So that's why I'm not going to be going for any of the IPO stocks this week. Let's also take a look at my portfolio. So since last week's video, I bought some Braithwaite stocks. That was the only stocks I bought last week. I bought him in the IPO, last week's IPO. I bought 5. I have kind of been cautiously playing StocksFC, I guess. And my kind of values that I'm buying are 10 stocks of a player, 5 stocks of a player, or 7 stocks of a player. They're kind of the border. And I have a few of 2 stocks. These are stocks that I bought when I wanted more, but there was only 2 available. There's a 4. So if there's anything less than 5, it was just because that's all I could get. That's all my order got filled at the time. But mostly it's 5, 7, and 10. So with Braithwaite, I went for 5. Mainly because I think he's a good long-term hold. So Braithwaite's the kind of stock that I'd like to add more next season, possibly when there's dips, when he maybe gets injured, when he gets suspended, if there's a peak, if there's a dip in his graph, that's when I'll be looking to add to his stock. But I wanted to start the ball rolling with him, get 5, because I think I said last week's video why I was considering him, because I think he's a future England #1 centre-back. I think he's got a great career ahead of him. I think he could leave Everton, go to one of the elite clubs, Champions League clubs, and I'm really impressed with him. I've seen him a few times this season, really been impressed with him. And as we've seen on StocksFC in the last couple of weeks, Everton have been making that team of the week. Pickford, Tarkowski, now Braithwaite's on the platform. I think with Dyche, Everton are solid, relatively solid at the back. When Everton have a good fixture, Tarkowski, Braithwaite, Pickford are 3 good stocks to have for those team of the weeks. So that's why I bought in Braithwaite. I finally was able to sell Justin Kluivert. I only had a couple of stocks in Justin Kluivert, but I bought him as one of my first stocks that I bought on the platform. If you see one of my first videos of this week on StocksFC series, if you see one of the first videos, Justin Kluivert was one of the first players I bought as a kind of short-term trade. Bournemouth had a really good couple of fixtures. He'd scored like the weekend before and got an assist, so I was feeling confident about him. It didn't quite go to plan. I sold him at a bit of a loss, but he earned me some in-play rewards, which kind of covered the loss that I sold on him. So an interesting kind of exercise for me, Justin Kluivert, in seeing on StocksFC how a stock can go down in value. And I sold him less than what I bought him for, but he'd earned me rewards since I owned him. He'd scored a couple of goals. He got in some in-play rewards, maybe a team of the week. He might have snuck into whatever it was. It was enough to cover the loss in selling him at a lower price. So that's an interesting strategy I might think about next season. If I see a month period where a stock has really good fixtures and they're on form, and I just think he's going to get goals, assists, lots of in-play rewards, it's worth possibly just going for, even if the value's high. If you're going to get a lot of in-play rewards, team of the weeks, maybe even a team of the month, then you sell them once the in-play rewards finish at a lower price than you bought them for. It could still be a worthwhile transaction. So, Justin Kluivert, thanks for the lesson. But your time with me at StocksFC is done. Maybe we look at him next season if he goes on another good run and Bournemouth have some good fixtures. But for now, got rid of him from the portfolio. So the rest of the portfolio is pretty much the same as last week. I'm happy with most of these stocks. There are a few like Salah where I don't know where they're going to be next season. Ivan Toney, Gimenez has scary rumors that Paris are interested in him. So there are a few who could move, but like I said last week, say Salah moves, say Gimenez moves, say Toney moves. Even if they left the Premier League, if they go to a Champions League club, I think I'm still happy with getting Champions League rewards from them in the midweek. So that's how I'm viewing it. In terms of profits, there's no real sort of alarming profits. There are Enzo Fernandez and Kevin De Bruyne are my sort of biggest, and Declan Rice are my biggest sort of minuses here, but I think they're still long-term holds. They're still good investments. I think next season, all three of them could be exciting StocksFC options. So that's a little bit about my portfolio. That's the IPOs this week. Let's finish this week's video by taking a little preview at the FA Cup final that's coming up and what it means for the world of StocksFC. It's here, the FA Cup final, a day I love. I guess because I'm getting a bit old now, but for me, FA Cup final day is always great. I love historically, I always have. I don't know if younger football fans like the FA Cup final as much as people past their 30s like me, but I love the FA Cup final, even when it's not my team involved. I think it's a great occasion. So I'll be watching Manchester Derby. Should be a spicy FA Cup final. As a Chelsea fan, I'm hoping Man City win the FA Cup final because that means Chelsea get Europa League football next season. If Man United win the FA Cup final, Chelsea get your Conference League football next season. So obviously I'm hoping Man City win. However, I want a good game. In terms of StocksFC, I think it's exciting because team of the week next week will be predominantly people from the FA Cup final. So all of them should be in with a good shout. So the top five that I picked are Foden, number one, because he's on form. That Player of the Season award, just being in the Team of the Week. He's now got a lot less competition for that Team of the Week. So I'd be looking at Foden. I put his graph here on the screen, and for me, this is still quite low, Phil Foden. Especially with the Euros coming up, if you buy him now, you've got the first bit of the Euros. I suppose possibly his price is a little low. Maybe people are waiting 1 week, maybe 2 weeks before buying him just before the Euros. Because if England go all the way to the final, you're going to want those in-play rewards all the way. So you want to buy him closer to the Euros. But if you want the bargain and you want him just for the first bit of the Euros, those in-play rewards for the first bit, and then you still get Team of the Weeks after, look at this. I mean, we're seeing that this kind of range here, around about his IPO price, is kind of where his price returns to on dips. So it started off at the IPO. It came back to that price here, and even a few days ago, came back to that price again. So Phil Foden, we're still seeing great options. So if I was you and you're looking at Phil Foden, I'd get in some orders around about this price point because people are selling him. Once the Team of the Season is announced, I think there might be another dip. So anytime there's a potential dip with Foden, this is kind of where he's heading. And generally the price is going down on Foden. So I think it's a good time to invest in him. I think he's a long-term hold. Should be at Manchester City for years to come, no matter the manager. I don't see them ever wanting to sell him. I don't see him really ever wanting to leave Man City. He can kind of stay there. He's young, just become a club legend, win everything with Man City. So he's a long-term hold. His price is at a nice point here. He was here not too long ago, so he's got sort of this as historical data to return to. And yeah, the platform grows. I can see him getting way much higher than that. So he's the one that I'd go for this week the most. But I think I put on the screen the other top 5 stocks I'd think about. Fernandez, De Bruyne, Akanji. Those 4 stocks are all on the market. Should all get Team of the Week. I think I've put 3 Man City players there. Foden, De Bruyne, Akanji. City are favourites to win. If they win, those 3 stocks should perform well. Should all get into the Team of the Week. Then I put Bruno Fernandes because no matter how Manchester United do, with the lack of competition this weekend for team of the week, he should be in there, because even if Manchester United lose, he's going to be creating chances. Say they get one goal, chances are he's going to get the assist or even maybe the goal. If it's a penalty, he's on them. If it's set pieces, he's on them. So Bruno Fernandes should be in the team of the week this week as well. And then I've put a left field pick. If you're feeling brave, if you're feeling like a bit of a gamble, I've put Marcus Rashford in there as a number 5 pick. Let's take a quick look at Marcus Rashford's graph. Now, as I'm recording today, Marcus Rashford has just been left out of the England squad for Euro 2024. So Rashford will not be going to the Euros with England. His confidence is going to be really shattered. His season has not been great. He's at possibly the lowest point of his career. But how I play StocksFC and how I play football games and how I gamble, I guess, with sort of bets, is I like to find opportunities when people are at their bottom. Rashford right now is at his bottom. If you invest in some Rashford stocks right now, it might seem like a crazy idea for me to say go buy some Rashford stocks, but look at his graph. He's way below his IPO price. He's way below the peaks he had on the platform here. He's basically at rock bottom. You could even put some price orders even lower than where he is, because he could return to here, which is like almost the very bottom. So he's at his bottom. So this is a long shot bit. Foden is the sensible pick this weekend. If you're feeling brave, Rashford might not even start the game. Such is his confidence. But he comes off the bench with so much to prove, with him just being left out of the England squad for the Euros, with everyone criticizing him, and also possibly rumors that he might leave in the summer. I think Rashford, if ever he's going to have one last chance to kind of show Manchester United fans what he's capable of, this game is it. FA Cup final could be his last game for Manchester United. He's at the bottom basically. So the only way is up for Rashford. So I might put a buy order on Rashford, not at the current price he's at, but just in case there's lots of frustrated owners that want to sell him for the really bottom price here. 0.0048 kind of looks like a good price. If we look at the current orders here, the lowest order, so 0.48 is not a bad order to put in here. You're above this. You could even put it at 0.0040. The lowest order currently being sold is at 50. 38 is the lowest buy order. If you put in the one at 40, you're getting someone really cheap. That is like around about £1 a stock. So it's a bit of a crazy suggestion, and I'm not fully saying doing it. Just remember, none of my channel, none of this is financial advice. We're having fun, all right? We're having fun. But Rashford could be a nice little gamble. Maybe he comes off the bench and scores a goal. Then he gets in team of the week, gets you an in-play reward. Then you could sell him even straight away, and he might have made you enough of some returns. Or you hold him. Maybe he stays at Man United next season, different manager possibly, or he gets back in the team, or he moves to a team that plays him, revitalizes his career. I think if you're in StocksFC for the long term, Rashford's career is by far fully over. But if you look at his price on StocksFC, you'd think his career is over. So by that logic, it could be a sensible idea to invest in some Rashford stocks. Maybe not now, maybe not this week. Maybe wait till the summer when it goes even lower, possibly. But yeah, just a crazy left field thought. That's the FA Cup final preview, people. We'll review it later. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, give it a like and a subscribe. It helps me out massively. Give me a follow on the socials. Chat to me about StocksFC there. If you've got any advice, any tips, if you think I'm crazy for even considering Rashford, anything like that, let me know in the comments. It's greatly appreciated. Good luck with your StocksFC purchases. I'll see you next week. Peace.